Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, folks. Welcome back to another 2 p.m. PST YouTube stream. I'm your host, Strange Bro Jim, and today, like normal, or like what I should be normal anyway, we're going to be getting back into studying for some Pega certification. We got some video uploads to handle, and then later on tonight, we're going to be doing some more Goat Simulator 3. So, um, Uh, so let's get into who I am, what these videos streams are all about, and then I got some replies that I haven't looked at yet concerning some of the suggestions that I gave earlier. Um, so we'll see what happened. We'll see if they reply. How they reply to some of my suggestions that I gave. Um, and then we'll get into um, I believe it's the next challenge afterwards. So, who am I? Well, I'm currently a out of work software developer whose last job was working with Pega. I was taught by an authorized training partner in Pega. Um, wasn't taught very well because, well, um, there was a lot of problems with our instructor. We had a lot of issues with him. Um, and we tried to voice our concerns to not only him but to his other coworkers, but nothing was ever done. So the one and only time that I actually did the certification, I was not prepared because the majority of us had gone on to self-study. Okay, we weren't really listening to our authorized training partner at the end. So, um, but they've required me to do the certification by one particular point in time. I was definitely not ready at that point, and hey, I failed. It was not a surprise to me whatsoever because I knew that I wasn't ready, but they needed me to take the certification anyway. Um, a lot of us voiced that we would like to be put back into a new training cycle so that we could learn Pega properly, but that never happened. They wanted us out into being, contractors right then and there. So we didn't really have much of a choice in the matter. So, um, but I'm hoping that I can get my system architect certification, put it on my resume, and you know, apply once again for some Pega jobs and hope for the best on that. So far, my looking for work has not panned out as well as I wanted it to, so um, I gotta do what I can to try to, keep my skills up, keep my brain as sharp as ever to try to, you know, get a job. So, uh, personally, I would love to just have a career, um, find a place that would love to have me for an extended period of time. Um, but yeah, okay. But we move on, right? So, um, so what exactly are these videos all about? Well, um, I'm going through them to, um, get my certification. I'm reading through this so that I can try to, learn everything all over again, so that I'm prepared when I do, get to a interview. I can answer the questions, I can do the work while on the job, so on and so forth. Okay. But obviously, there's parts um, of the missions, of the challenges, of the topics that I'm not 100% sure about. Okay, you know, I don't know everything that there is to know about Pega, so I may ask questions during these videos that I hope maybe someone that is a authorized training partner, maybe they work for Pega Academy directly, maybe they're a veteran, lead Pega developer, senior Pega developer, or something along those lines that will look through my videos and go, oh, okay, you're not understanding this part because you need to kind of think about it in this fashion, kind of way. Looking for some kind of explanation to some of my questions that I've had. Um, that's the main idea behind these videos, is to try to hope for some support from the Pega community itself to try to help me out, right? Um, in putting these videos up, I also hope that I'm helping others as well. Okay, so while I myself, I'm working through getting these videos up and out, and working through the process of trying to getting through the certification process, helping others get through that same process, I feel is a um, good mentality. Helping others, you know, or having people that you can work with at the same time to reach the goal at the same time. Okay, doing it in a team, can be very positive, uplifting, and helpful to reach your end goal. Trying to do it by yourself, well, doesn't always work out. Hence the reason why, we were kind of asking to be put back into a team before. But it is what it is. Now, um, if you want to go with an instructor-led training, you're welcome to do that. Do not consider these videos as instructor-led training. Once again, I am not an instructor. I'm not an authorized training partner. I'm someone that is working towards the certification himself, and even the most basic of certifications, the system architect certification. Okay. But these instructor-led trainings are like about 2 weeks or so of training, um, and they cost about like $5,000, so not exactly cheap, there, folks. Um, or at least not cheap to me. So, um, but you know, hopefully they give you everything that you need to know for the certifications. Do not fail to ask questions during these instructor-led trainings, because you're going to want to get as much information as you possibly can through them. Take notes, take video recordings, whatever, keep on, you know, redoing, those particular lessons over and over and over again until you get so confident in what you're doing that you will be able to um, pass the certification with flying colors. Okay, that's your goal. Okay, um, because when you actually take the certification itself, it's going to be a little rough, because when I took it for 8.6, I was seeing Pega 7 questions in there as well. Okay, hence the reasons why you want to ask as many questions as you can, because they have old questions in the certification. Okay, so, or at least that's what happened to me. Okay, so and I don't expect them to change that, or at least not very fast, I guess. Um, so make sure that you really kind of keep track of what you are um, what you're doing and how you're going about doing that kind of thing. So, ask those questions, get the information that you need to in order to pass those certifications. Um, so yeah, that's basically about it. For those of you that are kind of curious, if you're not sure, I've already covered the business architect. Okay. I've already covered the two missions and two modules already. Those are already on my playlist. You're welcome to go back and check through all those videos. They're lengthy. I cover like, a topic per hour or so. So it's, you know, I often find that those 5 minute estimates that they give, the 18 hours and 35 minutes. No, that's not. That's ridiculous, in my opinion. Um, 5 minutes to cover an entire topic and retain all the information that's in there? No, I'm sorry, not enough. So, but the two missions and two modules are done. These two modules are covering the Pega Express delivery. So I would recommend that you do the mission here, the Pega Express delivery, so that you are confident enough to handle that 13% of the business architect certification. Okay, that's what they estimate, in the certification. That 13% of the entire test is going to be all about the Pega Express delivery. I don't think these two modules covers it very well, so that's why that mission will do what should help you out. So, okay, but we're continuing on with our system architect studying. I think we covered the topic yesterday. Yeah, cascading approvals, where I was like, wait, hold on, we're having some issues with that. Not quite sure what the heck was going on there, um, but before we go on to the challenge here of configuring the cascading approval with the reporting structure, we have I got about 4 different emails coming in from Pega Academy. So let me check on those emails here. Um, okay, so um, okay, so this one in particular was about the disappearing values when you are creating the. It was it was concerning the challenge automated decisions with decision trees. Um, we were creating a decision table and or was it no decision we were creating decision trees, and when we were creating the credit amounts for 800, 700, 200, those credit conditions were disappearing. And they gave a note about if you're not seeing them, save and refresh. I'm like, why would I want to save and refresh when the first line is already kind of showing the fact that you know you're already seeing these values there. I shouldn't need to save and refresh when it should be showing them automatically. So this person said, "I'm sorry to hear you had this issue with the challenge. I will create your steps on one of the environments and report it to our development team." So okay, so that's one reply. Um, doesn't seem like there was much more than that, but I mean, I have 3 other emails, so let's see. Um, so in an, automated decision with decision tables in task 1, steps 5B and 8B, slight differences that probably should be fixed. If you wanted to match with a graphic and previous styles, for example, in 5B, the task is saying that the label should be credit score, but the graphic and the program itself is lowering the case of essence score, so the actual result is credit score, not credit score. You not only have the same problem in 8b with the lowercase, but you also normally change the font style with intended inputs. However, the font style of the input this time was not changed, so would recommend that you want to keep the previous challenges to change the font style to the correct one with the intended input loan amount. So they said we still have both issues in our 23 version, so I have updated the latest version. Your fixes will be in version 23 forward. So they fixed that. So that should be good. Okay, so next email. Um, Two suggestions. First suggestion concerning this one on users and personas topic. Two suggestions. First suggestion is about the CSR plus sign and how it doesn't show the full title of the CSR within the window size. Second, there's a note that has tasks required to fulfill their job duties. Best to remove one of their, seeing it is doubled screenshot. Okay, so thanks for submitting this. Just edit below. I've added these to our update list for our next release. Apologies for a long delay. We're very busy getting 23 out the door. No problem for this particular person. I appreciate the fact that they are still replying back to me. Okay, I still appreciate those replies because I mean it's better than getting absolutely ghosted. So it shows that they are appreciating the suggestions and that they will um, fix any problems that that I'm seeing, and that hey, if they agree with the problems that they should be fixed, then they will fix them. So I appreciate the fact that they're actually putting in those, taking the time out of their day to go through my emails or go through those suggestions and try to correct them. Um, okay, so this was a challenge for creating users and roles. In task 2, step 3, you're instructed to click all of the page boxes to match the image. However, first thing that I want to mention is that the image isn't showing administration notifications or recently opened items that I'm seeing currently in Pega. Is that an 8.8 edition? Second thing I would like to address, individually clicking each box is a waste of time. There's other applications out there where it states clicking the single box to mark all or something along those lines. Could Pega devs work on trying to set something like that up? So when you click a single box, say it's the pages row, it will mark all the pages automatically. It would save a lot of time. You have a ton of pages to choose from. So, um, this is their reply. Thanks for submitting a suggested edit. Our 23 release has these issues addressed. I agree that all that clicking was annoying. I'm glad they reworked the interface. Also, I believe those additional items were added in a later 8.7 release, which is why it isn't in the screenshot. We try not to update older material unless it's breaking the challenge because our content gets translated into many languages down the line. So that's it. That's all the emails that they replied back to me at this time. Now, I know that there's probably more suggestions that I've sent in that they haven't addressed. I don't know if they've addressed all of them. I can't really remember. I mean, if anybody wants to go through all suggestions that I sent to them and see if those are indeed the ones that I had left that has not been addressed, and you know, now bear in mind that I haven't actually read these emails out previously, you know, before, so it might not always be perfect, but um, I think we're um, I still appreciate the fact that they're willing to kind of reach out to me. anyway. So on that. So all right. So that was it concerning the emails in question. So let's go ahead and go into this challenge and try to take care of that. So we're going to go ahead and initialize the instance right away so that perhaps, and while we're doing that, let's go through the scenario here. So Google Road stakeholders want to allow territory managers to add new vendors as service providers as the service grows. If the vendor is the Automobile Association, TAA, which has an existing relationship with Google Road, the add vendor case is routed to the manager or the territory manager for approval. If the vendor is not TAA, the add vendor case type is then routed to the director for second approval. Add an approval step to the add vendor case type to support the described behavior. Following image displays the reporting structure for the author at Google Road user. So, and I think I already have author at Google Road already taken care of on this particular browser, so that shouldn't be that big of a deal. Now, we're going to be going through these, multiple different detailed tasks. The fact that there's still no testing for this is unfortunate. We are not going to be going through the challenge walkthrough. That is only if I encounter a detailed task where they might have like skipped steps or something along those lines, or I wanted to see exactly how they went about doing. Um, they go through a particular step or something like that. Okay, if they don't have all the steps there, then um, it might get a little confusing as to the order on which you know, they do the process, and therefore, you might need a challenge walkthrough to handle that. But, you know, you if the detailed tasks are thorough enough, then you shouldn't necessarily need it. So, um, so yeah, there's that. So all we need to do is just wait for the instance to get prepped, and we will get started on the detailed tasks. So, um, again, if you have any kind of questions or anything along those lines, feel free to address them. Okay, whether it's right now in chat while I'm live, or if it's on these videos that you see as I upload them and put them in the playlist on YouTube. Okay, don't be afraid to ask those questions. Okay, I personally welcome them. Okay, so um, so please don't be afraid to you know ask. If you're confused about a particular part of like the challenge or a topic or something like that, please ask. Okay. I'd rather you know the answer than you know continuing to kind of walk through these topics and challenges without any clear guidance. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started on this. So, putting the password down, and there's the author Google Road, and logging in. So it'll take a little while to get through that. The login process is not fast. Um, so so it will take a while. Um, so we're going to Dev Studio at the very start, going to App, and then we're going to be right-clicking the new vendor. So we're going to be creating a win connection. So I kind of wish that this was fast, but um, That's the thing about Pega is that you know it's developed um, using Java, and well, I often find that Java is while still while it is useful, I do find that it can still be quite slow when compared to like some faster programs like say um, feels like like Visual Studio or something like that. So um, like I think it wants to try to load in everything when in fact they could probably try to um, try to load in like the very front screen or front UI and continue to kind of work on the background while you are um, like navigating or something along those lines. You know, like they already have, um, and even then, just trying to change from like App Studio to Dev Studio takes a little while in loading. Loading a case type takes a while to load. Um, it's not necessarily a super fast process. So be aware of that. Okay. Okay. So um, we want the new vendor. So new vendor, create decision, and then it was the when. Okay. In the label field, enter vendor is TAA. Okay. Okay. So there's that. Click the create and open to create the when rule. And the select drop down, the select name and the new vendor data type. Okay, so create and open. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. The select drop down, select name and the new vendor data type. Okay. I'm assuming, I'm assuming if you've gone here, you might have been able to find it. Um, the name and the new vendor right there. They they kind of skipped a step there a little bit, but I mean, you've already kind of worked with these kind of fields and wind conditions before, so you should be able to handle that without any issues. So in the second drop-down box, keep the default value as is equal to. So yeah, so that's fine. In the third drop-down, enter TAA. Now, there's nothing like to drop down or anything along those lines, so it's not like you're getting some like additional um, you know, you're not getting any kind of um, variables or anything along those lines. So click Save to save the win rule. And the right of save, click the down arrow. Click Save As to save a copy of the vendor is TAA win rule. Okay, so click Save. And then we do Save As to um, I guess to create another win rule that's similar to the vendor is TAA. So um, So in the label field, enter vendor is not ATA. Okay. Click create and open to create the win rule. On the second drop-down list, select is not equal to. So create and open. We have name is equal to TAA from before, but we want it to be not equal to. So, and then we save. Why we have two win rules like that when the first win rule could have probably been perfectly fine is, I don't know. I don't know why they're creating a second one right at this moment in time, but we move on. So, we click save to save the win rule, so we're good. We move on. In the navigation pane, click case types, new vendor to open new vendor case type. So, we go to case types and new vendor. In the approval process, click Step and approve and reject. So, here we are in approval. We want to click Step, and we want approval and reject. Name the step Approve Vendor. Okay, and then we want to move that above here, according to this. Click and drag the Approve Vendor step to proceed to Save Data Step page. Or, the Save Data page step, I should say. With the vendor steps, excuse me, with the Approve Vendor Step selected from the General tab of the Properties pane, in the Approval Flow Type dropdown, select Cascading. So we're going to select that. So here's here. Here's what you got here. You had the Approval flow type drop down, approval flow type. So we want cascading. In the approval based on drop down, keep the default value of reporting structure. So you have the reporting structure or you have the authority matrix. So keep that in mind. In the approval to be completed by dropdown, keep the default value of reporting manager. So, you know, you have reporting manager or your work group manager. So, uh, click the approval levels section. In the approval levels section, select custom. So, we're opening up this a little bit more, and then we're clicking on custom. Step 10. Click the Update Custom Levels to update the custom approval levels. A dialog box is displayed. So here's the win rules that we're going to be using, right? So in the dialog box, click Add Custom Approval to add a win rule. And now we can kind of go here. We can drop down quickly and we can see that we have our two win rules that we just created. So, you know, we can add that in. So vendor is TAA. In the levels of approval field, enter 1. Why? I don't really know, but they want me to do that, so there you go. Click Add Custom Approval to add a win rule. In the win field, enter select vendors not TAA. Levels of approval field, enter 2. So here we have that, and then we have 2. Now, click Submit to close the dialog. Click Save to save the new vendor case type. So I don't know exactly what they mean by levels approval. And how that really applies to the reporting managers. Um, let's see. Maybe it is referring to the amount of approvals that you need. Like, you know, the first only one level of approval only needs to go to your, you know, reporting manager. 2 levels of approval means that you have to get two parts of approval, from the manager and from the, their manager, basically. How it figures that out, I'm not quite sure. Okay. Um, so when you automatically say 2, will it always think, okay, you know, uh, not only do you need the manager, but the manager's manager kind of thing. I'm not quite sure what that is all about. So I would assume that that's the case, but how it goes about actually figuring that out, and what happens if you know your ID doesn't actually have that information. You know, like maybe you haven't filled in the entire hierarchy of your company into the user IDs. Um, Maybe you haven't even gotten um, the director in Pega yet. You know, who's to say that that hasn't already, that hasn't happened yet? One would think that, directors should have been like one of the first ones being introduced into Pega, but maybe not, right? Um, you never know what might go on, in the um, what goes on in a company. Okay, so when you see this, make sure that there are you know the background, the database, or the reporting structure is there. Okay, you have that hierarchy of managers. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. So, you know, you're probably going to get, I would hope that you would get, some form of error there, like, hey, you added in a level of approval, but, you know, there's like no one um, in your organization that has more than one or something like that, then that would be a problem, right? Um, but I don't know if Pega can see that or not. So, so it might fall on you, the developer, to ensure that this is indeed, being handled properly. So the confirming your work really does come into, um, come into play here because you're gonna want to have. Well, I mean, when you're creating your programs, obviously you want to do it on a test bed. You want to have it on a testing area so that you can ensure that it's actually working properly before you put it into any kind of um, and putting it out for any kind of customer to see, right? That's how it should be, right? Um, you shouldn't necessarily be working on a project where the customer can see, the changes that you're doing in real time. Okay, that's gonna be a problem. Okay, um, that's why if you're like working on a web page, for example, you want to have like a background separate computer where you can actually program out your web page prior to even making it live. Otherwise, um, you're just gonna cause a whole world of hurt to your company. Trying to change your web page, for example, in real time. That's just gonna be you're just asking for trouble if that's the case. So, okay, so we hit the submit, and then we hit the save, and everything should be fine. Now we wanted to confirm the work, so we click Save and Run to create a new vendor case instance. So this has been saved, so we do the Save and Run. Technically, if you're doing a Save and Run, you shouldn't necessarily need to hit Save, because the Save and Run should be saving it, prior to running anyway. So, but it's not necessarily bad either, but still, it's like, you know, um, it's not really necessary per se. So, in the collect vendor information step in the name field, enter TA. So, um, so there's that. Click submit. In the to-do section of the case, go to the right of get approval, click go to display the first approval. So here's the approval. Need to approve the vendor. So in the approval view, verify that the opening assignment is assigned to the manager. So there you go, manager. Click approve to resolve the case. Create a new vendor case instance. So we approve that, and everything is perfectly fine. We're all good. It's been resolved. Great. Now we do a save and run again. Create a new instance. In the collect vendor information name in the name field, enter Pega. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you put it into the name. Anything other than TAA should work. Matter of fact, if you do TAAS, for example, then it shouldn't give you, it should give you like, multiple approvals necessary, right? So click the submit field, or click the submit, and just use this section in the case, and click go, and the approval view verify the open assignment is assigned to the manager. So we click go, assignment goes to the manager. So there's that. We click approve, and now in the to-do section of the case to the right, click get approved to click go to display the second approval. So, and this one should be the director. So, open assignment is assigned to the director. And then of course you can click approve to close it out or something like that, and there you go. Resolve completed, and you're good to go. So that's it. That's where we're gonna mark it. This as complete for ourselves. No testing required apparently. And that's it for our challenge of configuring a cascading approval with a reporting structure. So now I would imagine that if you have like, additional members of the staff, like VP or something like that, then you'd want to be able to um, you know um, uh, maybe maybe you want to change this more 3 levels of approval. Let's try that. Let's see what happens there. Let's see if I'm actually breaking the um, uh, new vendor here. So if I say that this is TAA or TAS, that works. So we're going to go. We're at the manager. So there's that. Approve. We're at the director. So there's that. We approve that. And the new vendor case type does not yet have any fields defined. So even though we put down 3, we don't have any additional, we don't have anything beyond that. So yeah, so there you go. It's just basically going to say, oh, hey, you just did the 2, you're good. You don't have to do any more. So if there was a need for you know, needing additional verifications, then, well, you just shown the fact that you have not handled the hierarchy. You know, like if the VP needed to be addressed for approval, then that needed to be um, that needed to be handled. So, but that's it. That's where we're gonna go ahead and close on down for today's session of Pega. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Like I said, feel free to leave any kind of comments or suggestions or um, you know questions that you might have concerning this particular challenge, or if you're looking back through any of my previous content, feel free to ask any kind of questions on those topics or challenges and modules and so on and so forth there. Um, I will do my best to try to answer them myself if I can. If I can't, then I will, try to reach out to some of the people that I know from my last job to see if they can maybe answer your questions. So don't feel like um, there's no hope of having your question answered. Okay, please feel free to ask those questions. Otherwise, they're just going on into the void. Or if you're not asking them, then you it might be really difficult for you to get said answer. And I don't necessarily want you um, coming to the wrong conclusions either. Okay. Some people think, oh, if it's this way, then it has to be that way. And it's, well, and that might not necessarily be the right way of thinking about the problem at hand. So, um, you know, um, trust your more experienced peers. You know, um, you know, you're gonna have people that are more experienced than you when it comes to this particular topic, especially if you've never seen it before. If it's, especially if you've never dealt with it before. Okay. Um, there's going to be individuals that, probably have dealt with that particular problem before and have already, figured out a solution. Might not be the best solution, maybe, but, you know, uh, might not necessarily be unique there, folks. Just putting it out there. If you find something completely unique, then obviously, good luck in trying to find a solution. Um, work hard, ask your peers for any, you know, um, any guidance if you need it. Um, but yeah, um, but that's it. That's where we're gonna go ahead and call it for today. So, I want to thank you all for joining me. No chatters today, but that's okay. I want to thank you all, those of you that were just kind of lurking in the background. I appreciate you being here. But that's it. That's where we're going to go and end it. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully I catch you next time. But until then, take care. Have a good night. Stay healthy. Stay safe. And I'll catch you strangers next time.